Hello students, good morning and welcome to another lecture of physics. This is our 36th video lecture of physics, right? And in last video lecture, we have discussed about measurement of mass. Starting from some basic concepts which are given in our textbook, we have discussed some interesting topic related to mass, some history of mass, right? Mass, the unit of SI unit of mass is kilogram, the only unit with some prefix kilo, right? Rest of the unit like second is not millisecond or microsecond, or let us say meter, right? For measurement of length, it's not kilometer. Then why only mass is having kilogram and not gram? So that we have discussed in detail, right? And then we have discussed that in case of atomic physics and nuclear physics, that is, you can say that in case of subatomic physics, the unit of mass is totally different. The reason behind that is the electrons, protons, neutrons, right? These type of particles have mass very less, or you can say negligible in comparison with 1 kg. We know that mass of one electron is 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. So you can see that 10 to the power minus 31 kg is negligible in comparison with 1 kg. Right. So you can say that always to write 10 to the power minus 31 kg, or let us say mass of proton is 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 27 kg. So into 10 to the power minus 31 or into 10 to the power minus 27 kg, and all this if we want to write them, it is little bit you can say that inappropriate, right? So we have adopted a new unit system in case of atomic and subatomic physics. And that new unit system for measurement of mass is known as AMU, atomic mass unit, which we have already discussed. In the same way, in this video lecture also, we are going to discuss about time, measurement of time. So our today's lecture is based on measurement of time. We are going to discuss the topic which is given in our textbook. Apart from that, we are going to discuss some interesting topic related to measurement of time. As well as at the end of this video lecture, I am going to ask you some questions which you have to answer yourself. Right? You have to think and let me know that what is your answer. So let us start with today's topic about measurement of time. So the topic for today is measurement of time. Now we have already discussed in our one of the video lecture where we have discussed about SI unit system, right? In that we have already discussed that the SI unit of mass is the SI unit of time is second, right? So the SI unit of time is second. Now what is 1 second? What do you mean by 1 second? 1 second is defined as the time required for 91926317770 vibrations of the radiations corresponding to the transitions between two hyperfine layers of ground state cesium atom, that is cesium 133 atom. 1 second is defined as the time needed for 91926317770 vibrations of the radiations corresponding to the transitions between two hyperfine levels of ground state of cesium 133 atom. Quite a heavy definition, you can say that. So let us write first. 1 second is defined as 1 second is defined as the time required, or you can say that needed for 91926317770 vibrations One second is defined as the time needed for 91926317770 vibrations of the radiations. Vibration of the radiation corresponding to the transitions between two hyperfine levels of ground state cesium-133 atom. So you can see that here we have defined 1 second. So you can see that lots of number and cesium atom and many other things, right? You can see that this much vibration, this many number of vibrations, as well as cesium atom. Why cesium atom only? Why this many number of vibrations? Why not oxygen atom? Why not hydrogen atom or carbon atom? So before going to this, or let us say, before understanding this definition of 1 second, let us see some history about the time. Let us say thousands of years before thousands of years, how we can measure time, how we were measuring time. Obviously, there are some aged people right now also who can estimate the time close to the true value by just observing the shadow of any object. It is quite possible because they have that experience. Before, say, some hundreds of years, people were able to predict the exact time with the help of the shadow of any object, right? But I am talking of the time when this method was also not there. We were discussing the situation when this method was also not known, right? So at that time, in order to measure time, what was there? Obviously, you can say that one obvious thing was there, that sun was rising and sun was setting down. Again, sun will rise and it will set down. That was a common regular periodic motion of sun. You can say that actually it is periodic motion of earth around the sun. But at that time we were believing that sun is orbiting around earth, right? So you can say that sun will rise, then it will set, again it will rise and it will set. So this was occurring at some definite periodic time, right? This was occurring at some definite time interval. So people thought that this can be considered as a measurement for time. Sun will rise and it will set down. Next day it will again rise. So the time duration when the sun rises to the next day when it is again going to rise, that whole time interval was defined as 1 day. It was defined as 1 day. So what is 1 day for us? It is not 12 hours. 1 day means 24 hours. What is 1 day? So initially when we were having no such information, no pendulum clocks, no wristwatch, something like that, at that time the measurement of time was decided on the basis of the regular pattern of rising of sun and setting down, right? So when sun will rise and the next time again it is going to rise, that time duration was decided as 1 day. Now 1 day was quite a long period of time. For measurement of time, you can say that 1 day was very long. Why? Because say for example, many activities to cook food, right, will not require 1 whole day. The time required to cook food is quite less compared to 1 day, right? Let us say to go for a walk for 10 minutes. Obviously, at that time 10 minutes was not known. But if you are going somewhere for very short interval of time, let us say half an hour, which was not known at that time. So obviously that half an hour, to measure that half an hour in comparison with 1 day was quite difficult. So the next requirement was to divide 1 day into small interval of times. Now here we were requiring a number, or 1 day should be divided by such a number. 1 day should be converted into such a number that is easily divisible by 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 and so on. Why 2, 3, 4, 6 and 8 only? The reason behind it is quite simple. At that time, suppose we have one work, right? And that work is to be divided between 2 people, or that work is to be done by 2 people. So the whole day must be divided into 2 groups. half of the day one person will do, and for next half of the day the rest person will do. Say for example, in case of you can say that security, to guard their location, one person will guard for half of the day and then he will take rest, and the next person will guard for half of the day, right? So in order to assure security, suppose the duty is given, right? We are calling that shifts. So one person will work in half of this shift of first day, half of the day, and the another will work for rest of the day. So that one day must be converted into, or must be divided into two parts. In the same way, if the same duty is given to three persons, then for 1/3 of the day, one person will perform that duty. For next 1/3, the next person will perform that duty, and for next 1/3, the third person will perform that duty. So the days will be divided into three. In the same way, 4 persons are doing, same way 6 persons are doing the same duty, and if 8 people are doing the same duty, then the one day must be divided by 8. So here we require a number which is easily divisible by 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 and so on. And obviously that number was 24. So before 4000 years, Egyptians divided one day into 24 hours and the unit was given as hour. So one day was divided into 24. Why 24 number was selected? It was randomly selected so that we can divide one day by many numbers, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 and so on. So 24 was decided, right? So one day is 24 hours, right? Now before 1000 years, 1 hour was divided into 60 minutes. Then 1 minute was divided into 60 seconds. 1 second was divided into 60 thirds, and 1/3 was divided into 60 quarters. So you can see that 1 hour was divided into 60 minutes, 1 minute was divided into 60 seconds, 1 second was divided into 60 thirds, 1/3 was divided into 60 quarters. So you can see that here 1 hour was divided into 60 minutes. Why 60? Again, 60 number was quite easy. It is divisible for most of the numbers. So that's why randomly 60 was selected. There is no such logic why we have taken 60. But before 1000 years, people decided that we will divide 1 hour into 60 minutes. We'll divide 1 hour into 60 parts, and one such part will be known as 1 minute. Then 1 minute was divided into again 60 parts, and one such part was given name as 1 second. Same way, 1 second was further divided into 60 parts, and one part was given name as 1/3, and 1/3 was also divided into 60 parts, which was given name as 1. Each part was given name as 1/4. Right. So this is how we divided. Remember, at that time, before 1000 years, we were even unable to measure 1 second. But the definition was decided that this will be the definition for 1 hour. 1 minute will be this much part and all that, right? So at that time, what was the definition of 1 second? 1 second was defined as, let us say somewhere over here. 1 second, here only we write. 1 second was defined as 1/24 into 60 of a mean day. So in one day we have 24 hours, right? So if you divide by 24 hours, we'll get 1 hour. If you divide that again by 60, we'll get 1 minute. And if you again divide by 60, you'll get 1 second. So 1 second was defined as 1/24 into 60 of the mean day. Why we are taking mean day? Because during the motion of Earth around the Sun, orbital motion of Earth around Sun, you will learn this in chapter 8. That Earth will be very close to Sun at a particular time interval, and it will be far away from the Sun at some other time interval. Remember, speed of Earth is not constant. It is not moving with constant speed around the Sun. Obviously, we are taking average speed and all that. but the speed of Earth will be different depending on its distance from the Sun. Earth is not moving around the Sun in a circular orbit. It is moving in the elliptical orbit. Earth is moving around the Sun in the elliptical orbit. So when an Earth is moving around elliptical orbit, let us say if you want to draw, this will be our elliptical orbit, right? And Sun is somewhere over here. Let us say this is Sun. So when Earth is here, its speed will be less, and when Earth is somewhere over here, its speed will be more, right? So depending on its location from the Sun, the speed of Earth will keep on changing. So obviously there will be some variation in one day, and hence we are getting here mean day. So 1 second was defined at that time as 1 by 24 into 60 into 60 of the mean day. This was done before 1000 years, and remember at that time we were even unable to measure 1 second. In fact, in 17th century we invented pendulum, and after the invention of pendulum we were able to measure time. That grandfather clock, right, was designed, and we were able to measure 1 second in the 17th century, right? So you can say that before we were able to measure second, the unit and definition, everything was decided. Now, by the end of the 19th century, it was found that most of the day-to-day activities, right, the activities which we perform or we come across daily, can be easily measured in terms of seconds. Say for example, we are measuring a time duration for any chemical reaction to occur, or we are measuring the time for running race. So in all these kind of experiment or activities, second was found to be the most appropriate measurement for time, right? Second was found to be the most appropriate unit for the measurement of time. Remember, your minutes were quite longer period of time. Your minutes were quite longer period of time. On the other hand, thirds were very small to measure those activities, and hence second was defined as a SI unit for measurement of time, or a standard unit for the measurement of time. So second is an important unit for the measurement of a physical quantity known as time. But the definition of second was based on these numbers. That is, 1 second is 1 by 24 into 60 into 60 of the mean day. That is into mean day. So this was the definition of 1 second. But this definition was not appropriate. Why not appropriate? Say for example, after thousands of years, the speed of rotation of Earth around the Sun changes. Right? In that case, this 24 will change. Right? Or in that case, the period will change. Or in that case, the period will change. So obviously, the value of 1 second will change. Right? So now what we want such a standard quantity or such a standard instrument which can give us a precise measurement for time, which will not change, right? Which will remain constant. So obviously 1 second has to be redefined, right? And that definition should be based on such activity or such instrument which will not change with time, which will remain constant forever, right? For longer period of time. So cesium was selected. Cesium 133 atom was selected. Now why cesium 133 atom only? Why not its isotope? Cesium do have its isotope 137. But why 133 only? Now we know that if we consider an atom, let us say this is nucleus, and around this nucleus large number of electrons will perform orbital motion. Right? This is the atom, right? You can say this is atom, and in this atom these are the orbital periods of electron, or electron perform orbital motion along this path. Now all these electrons when get excited, they make transitions between one layer to another level, between one level to another level, and they also vibrate about their mean positions. Related to that vibration, these electrons will emit some kind of radiations. All these electrons will be emitting some kind of radiations. Right. So all atom, each and every atom, right, say for example atom of an oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, etc., all these atoms will have electrons. These electrons will be vibrating depending on their energies and all that, and this vibration will be of some definite pattern, right? So here also in cesium atom there was one electron whose vibration was having a definite pattern. We want a definite pattern which should not change with time. For case of other elements, say for example oxygen, hydrogen, the vibration pattern was not remaining constant. It was not having that accurate value. Here accuracy means that the vibration pattern should not change. It should remain same, right? Obviously you can say that the vibration pattern should not change with respect to time. Otherwise if you are measuring time with on the basis of that vibration pattern and that vibration pattern will change, then obviously our time will change, right? So what we want an element whose vibration pattern, or an atom whose vibration pattern, this vibration pattern should remain constant with time, right? So not only that, of course it should remain constant with time, but not only that, the pattern should be such that it can be easily measurable. We can easily count the number of vibrations. So out of all these atoms, whatever are available, it was found that for cesium-133 atom, this vibration pattern can be easily calculated. This vibration pattern, the number of vibrations can be easily calculated. Not only that, we can easily measure, of course we can easily measure, but not only that, this vibration pattern was remaining constant with time. The accuracy of this vibration was 1 to 10 to the power 13. What does this mean? This means that if you count 10 to the power 13 vibrations, then only one time it will mismatch. Only once it is going to mismatch. Rest of the time the vibration will remain same. They are constant. And hence you can say that the accuracy level of cesium atom is very high. Only 1 to the 10 to the power 13. Right? So if you make observation of 10 to the power 13 times, only once it is going to mismatch. You can say in other word, say for common language, if you are getting confused in this simplicity, in a simple way we can say that, for simplicity we can say that for 1 second of variation, for a variation of 1 second, it will take 1.4 million years. For a variation of 1 second of this cesium clock, the time required will be 1.4 million years. So you can see how accurate this clock is. Obviously this kind of clock were given name as atomic clocks, because we are measuring the vibration of atom. So atomic clocks are basically made up of cesium 133 only, because compared to 137, 133 has more accuracy. So cesium 133 clock is used, which is known as atomic clock, in order to measure the time. Right, 1 second. Now why this number 9192631770? By the end of 17th century, we were already having a pendulum clock through which we can measure 1 second. Now while comparing this 1 second with the vibration of cesium atom, it was found that the number of vibrations are 9192631770. That many number of vibrations will be there in 1 second, right? And that's why we have converted our 1 second into this many number of vibrations. Now apart from cesium atom, we do have another atom which is rubidium. So we do use rubidium atomic clock, but the accuracy of rubidium atomic clock is 1 to 10 to the power 12. So it means that for 10 to the power 12 such observation, only one time it is going to mismatch. But obviously you can compare to rubidium, you can say that cesium atom is more accurate, right? And that's why we are using cesium clock. One more important interesting thing is that cesium clock are non-portable. You cannot take that clock from one place to another place. On the other hand, rubidium clock are portable. So to synchronize all the clock which are present at different laboratories in different countries, actually we are using rubidium clock, right? To synchronize all the remaining clock. So rubidium clock is also used, atomic clock. Rubidium atomic clock is used to synchronize all the cesium clock. In India, the cesium atomic clock is located at New Delhi in NPL, that is National Physical Laboratory. As that mass is also, the prototype of mass is also there. In the same way, the atomic clock is also there in New Delhi, cesium atomic clock at NPL. Now, let us think further. This is something related to time, minute, hours and all that. Now, how 1 year came into existence? Just think, as I was saying in the beginning, that I am going to give you some work which you have to do yourself. So how 1 year came into existence? Obviously, it has to do something with the motion of Earth around the Sun. Right? We know that the orbital motion of Earth around the Sun will require the time equal to 1 year. How 12 months came into existence? You can easily get idea related to this using lunar calendars and all that. You must be knowing that 1 month has to do something with the orbital motion of Moon around the Earth. It is taking something around 28 days and so, right? So something related to the orbital motion of Moon around Earth, we do have months. Now the question is, why we are having 7 days a week? How week was defined and why there are 7 days? Just a hint I will give you that during those days, we used to watch sky and there were 7 heavenly bodies which were seen. Right? Do you know what are those 7 heavenly bodies which were seen apart from stars, right? So, is this the reason why we are having 7 days? Right? Just think over it and let me know. What's up, right? Thank you. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you have got lots of information in this video. Meanwhile, before next video, keep on reading, keep on preparing and keep on writing. Thank you.